Holy Shalom to those who are coming in on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Holy Shalom once again. It is indeed a privilege and honor to come on this eve of on this eve day and this holy time that we're entering in, coming into the seventh moon, and it is just really an awesome time. And so, one of the things I want to do, first of all, is go into the prayer of forgiveness and repentance before we get started. And that's of course that is the order of the day. But I don't do nothing else. We definitely want to cleanse our heart on a continuous basis, cleansing the heart. So important. So you can repeat after me, or you can listen and say it in your heart. Okay? The prayer of forgiveness and repentance. Abba, Yah, the great I am, forgive us for sins of commissions, and forgive us for sins of omissions. Abba, Yah, the great I am, forgive us for offending you with our words and our deeds and in our thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, forgive us for offending anyone with our words, our deeds, and in our thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, we forgive those who have offended us with their words and their deeds. Abba, Yah, the great I am, we forgive ourselves for offending ourselves with our words, our deeds, and in our thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, forgive us for committing fornication with our words and our deeds and in our thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, we repent for breaking any of your righteous laws in heaven, in the earth, and in our temples. Forgive us. And we choose to obey your righteous laws. We appropriate the power of the stake and the shedding of your blood that wash our sins away, blot out our transgressions and our iniquities, create in us a clean heart and renew a right spirit in us. Purge us, Yah, with hyssop, wash us, and we are cleansed. We are white as snow. We take up our stake and we nail our flesh and sins to the stake, and we die to our flesh. Yahweh, the Most High, the great I am, you are exalted in our lives. In this moment right now, hallelujah. We give you the highest praise. It belongs to you and only you. And the glory belongs to you, and you will share with no other. Blessed be the name of Yah. Well, holy shalom to each and every one of you, and those who are in the chat room, Prophet Krishan Howard, and Lady Robin Storm, and for those who will be coming and those who are listening as we speak. And I want to thank you once again for coming in at this time and want to share with you and uh, Sister Therese, Sister Teacher Logan. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Those who are coming on Facebook, those who are coming on YouTube, appreciate your time. And I want to come and share some things with you, a few things with you. I'm not going to be that long tonight, and I know that there's some who are now celebrating the Jewish New Year, and going into the Yahweh's Feast of Trumpets on the seventh moon. And I want to talk about some things. Usually, I would talk about why the feasts are important and what have you. But I want to connect some dots and just share with you for a few moments on this evening, um, coming into this seventh moon, coming into the seventh moon. We're talking about the seventh moon, not the seventh, not the ninth month, but the seventh moon. This is Yahweh's calendar, the seventh moon. I know that this is September on the Gregorian calendar, the ninth month. But we're talking about the seventh moon. That means we're talking about Yahweh's calendar that we are talking about. And so we're coming into the seventh moon very shortly, very shortly. And so I want to talk about some things. And of course, the Feast of Trumpets, it's going to be on the first day of the seventh moon. And I want to kind of talk about that, but I want to talk about it in a different way because I want us to be more aware. And there are those who are online in the chat room know that we kind of touch bases, we kind of connect some dots, but just want it to reiterate this again, because we need to know. You need to know exactly where we're at. Absolutely. Need to know exactly where we're at. Feast of Trumpet. What does all this, what do it mean? The seventh moon and what have you? Because there are many people who don't know so much about it. They subscribe to the teaching of Torah or subscribe to the teaching of the Jewish community. And so what we want to know exactly what is going on, because one of the things that we do and teach is spirit and in truth. Yes, we teach the laws, and I'm going to read one of the laws pertaining to the feast that's coming up. And so we teach the law in spirit and truth, the spirit to the truth. In other words, we bring spirit and truth together, as Yeshua said to the woman at the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. Yes, he said, "They that worship me must." It's not an option. They must worship me in spirit and in truth. So, in other words, the spirit and the truth come together as one, as one. So, it's important that we understand it. So, I'm going to just share some things where we're at, because we're coming to the fall feast, and that's every year, the seventh moon, coming into the seventh moon. Is there a spirit to this truth? Is there a spirit side to this truth? Is there spirit that connects with what he's given us to be obedient to his calendar, his calendar, which is very, very, very important to be on the same page with Yah. I'm not talking about the Gregorian calendar. I'm not talking about the civic calendar, but how important it is to be on the same calendar page with the great I am. That's important to us. So is there a spirit side to what he's given us as a commandment as we read his mind? Because I'm gonna read his mind. Yes, I'm gonna read Yahweh's mind in just a minute. I'm gonna read his mind. I'm gonna read some of his thoughts. Absolutely. And I'm gonna read some of his ways. Oh my, oh my. You see, yes, I'm gonna read his mind. And so we want to understand here what is the spirit to this truth. If he said the true worshipers, remember what Yeshua said, the true worshipers must worship me in spirit of truth. So if there's the true worshipers that worship him spirit and him in spirit of truth, there must be worshipers of something. Worshipers of truth or worship of the spirit. But the true worshiper, he says, must worship me in spirit and truth. And let the Father, Yahweh, seek for those such worshipers to worship him. And so that's what it's all about. There's a spirit to a truth. Because we talk about the spirit, what's in the heart? What's in your heart? Because at some point you got to realize that spirit and truth was disconnected. Spirit and truth was not, that it was separated. Oh yes, that's another great lesson in itself. But I want to talk tonight just for a few moments, And first of all, I want to go to the law, to the mind of Yahweh. Yes, I said the law, and the law is reading. When we read the law, we're reading Yahweh's mind. When we teach the law, we're teaching what's his mind. Absolutely. We're teaching and reading his thoughts. His, no one else's, but his. And we need to understand that. So, what I'm going to do, because we're coming into this the fall feast, and just want to give you what's on Yahweh's calendar. What is on Yahweh's calendar? The feasts, the Sabbath, and all his feasts are Sabbath. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And so we look at, we honor the new moon, the first of the moons, and there is in the spring, there is, we honor the new year of Yahweh, the new year of Yahweh's calendar, not the civic or the Gregorian calendar, neither one of those. But we're talking about Yahweh's new year, not Yahweh's new year. So there's Yahweh's new year. Then you have the Passover. Yes. Then you have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Then you have Pentecost, Shavuot. That's the spring, first part of Yahweh's calendar. Then coming into the fall, then you have what we have. There is celebrating the first of the moon, the seventh moon. Then on the same day, it is the Feast of Trumpet. Then from there, you go to the Day of Atonement. And then the next is the Feast of Tabernacles, the beginning and the end. That's Yahweh's calendar. That's Yahweh's calendar. No more, no less. So we have calendars that have that some of that in it, but the other calendars have other things that are in it. And so let's be on the same page, calendar page of Yahweh's thoughts in his mind, what he has for his people. Okay? Now, I'm going into the positives. I'm going to read a positive law that pertains to the feast and the Sabbath. hmm I'm going to read that. And so, first of all, I'm going to read Positive Law 153. Then I'm going to read one Positive Law 154. And then I'm going to skip and I'm going to 163. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. Positive Law 153. And this is the heading. This is what it says. This is what it says. The new moons are to be observed to set Yahweh's feast. The new moon, not month, but moon. Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. And it says this new moon shall be your beginnings of moons. It shall be the first moon of the year for you. Yahweh setting up his calendar. That's Exodus 12 and 2. And then also in Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1, and it says this: watch for the moon of the green ear of barley. Okay? It's important for us to understand that Yahweh's new year and deals with moon, lunar, not solar. The Convocation deals with the solar. And Yahweh deals with the lunar because it's moons, not months. So now I'm going to read Positive Law 154. And this is what it said, the heading says, right here. The seventh day of every week is Yahweh's Sabbath and a rest and a holy convocation. Okay? Now, Exodus chapter 23, verse 12. 6 days you shall, this is when Yahweh was dealing with Moshe. Okay? Verse 12. 6 days you shall do your work, and on the seventh day you shall rest from doing your work, so that your ox and your donkey may rest, and your sons and your maid servants and the stranger may be refreshed. This is part of the commandments that Yahweh had a discussion with Moshe. This was part of the commandments on the seventh day. So you got to understand that it's important that you know that there are these days of Yahweh. These are Sabbaths. These are holy convocations. Holy people congregating together, coming together. So we're coming into the fall feast on Yahweh's calendar. The new moon, the seventh moon, and the Feast of Trumpets. Okay? So I'm going to read Positive Law 163, and this is what it says. The heading: the Feast of Trumpets is a Sabbath of rest and a holy convocation. That's what it says. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24. And this is what it says. Speak to the children of Israel, saying, in the seventh moon of the first of the moons, you shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, the Feast of Trumpets, a holy convocation. This is the beginning. So it's a holy convocation of people, a holy people congregating together. It is a Sabbath. So we cease from doing our work and enter into the work of Yahweh. So now, in the seventh moon, you have the Day of Atonement and the Feast of Tabernacle. In the seventh moon, that's what we have. You have this. So now, what I read earlier, on the seventh day, it is a weekly Sabbath. It is a weekly Sabbath and a weekly holy convocation. That's what it is. The seventh day, then the seventh moon. 7, 7. So now I want to I want you to understand where I'm going here. Because if we just leave it at that, there are many people will celebrate it. There are many people will celebrate the Feast of Trumpet. There are many people that will celebrate the first of the seventh moon. There are many people will celebrate Day of Atonement. Many people will celebrate the Feast of Tabernacle. But there can be a problem. You can do this in your obedience. Obey it, yes, you can. But remember what I said. There was a problem. There was a separation of spirit and truth, or rejection of the spirit that came down. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, and the children of Israel were there, and he spoke out of the cloud, came to the mountain by his spirit, and they rejected the spirit, or they did not receive the spirit of Yahweh. They did not receive it. So Yahweh put it on a stone, told Moshe to come back up and write these laws so that we can read Yahweh's mind and follow the instruction, because everything that he did was to remind them of what they did not receive. They did not receive him, the Spirit, but then he gave them reminders. He gave them reminders to know that this is what you got to do in order for me to, so for us to be side by side, for me to be in your midst. Okay? Now, so here is the seventh moon that have these feasts in it. Seven. So there's the spirit to this. Number one, in your heart. Okay, let's look. We got to understand, where is your heart? Is your heart a heart of stone or a heart of flesh? Because if your heart is a heart of stone, you can obey it, but don't have Yahweh's spirit in you with that. You don't have the spirit of Yahweh in your heart that's pertaining to what he's saying. So the obedience. So when your heart is a heart of stone, it's hard to obey something when you don't have the spirit of it. And so now he had to remind them how, with the sacrifices and things like that, the animals and the prayer shawls and so forth and so on, as a reminder. Yes. So now, so what I really want to focus in, I want to focus in on 7. I want to focus in on the number 7. Because when you understand Yahweh, when we look at his calendar, it is loaded with 7. It is loaded with 7. Yes, it is. It is loaded with 7. 7 is so important because you go back to Genesis chapter what? 2. And on the 7th day was holy. 7th day is not a day of creation. We had 6 days of creation, and the 7th day is holy, set apart. We've gone through many times, so let's continue to connect the dots. So 7 days, the 7th day, because understand this, we've heard of the number 666. You've heard it. You read it in Revelation. And yet there is, as you connect the dots and you read in the prophets and you read in the law, what the 6 is. It's the day of man. Genesis chapter 1, and the 6th day is when he created man of his image and his likeness. On the 6th day. So you got to understand that then after the 6th day was the holy day, 7. That you have to connect the dots. It's very important that we understand this, because where we're at in the time cycle. So when I say time cycle, we are in time in the cycle of eternity. Yes, we are. See, because when you get out of our time where gravity is, then you get into what? Eternal. There's no time. There's no time. But he gives us this time within us, for us, that we can understand there's a gravitational pull that keeps us in a bubble, okay? If you'll say that, if you allow me to say that, a bubble which we have time. Fourth day of creation gives us that with the sun, the moon, and the stars. It gives us that time. So in time, we have eternal, even in time. Even in our frame time, there is eternal. Yes, it is. We call it supernatural. There's things that Yahweh is doing right now in our time, in his seasons. Absolutely. There's things that are working out because, number one, we are immortal beings in a mortal body. Yes, we're mortal. We're immortal in a mortal body. Okay? We're immortal beings in a mortal body. And there are things that are taking place. So that who you are, where you come from is eternal. You're eternal beings. You're a spirit. You are a spirit. There's timeless. There's no time with the spirit. You're eternal. So there is spirit and truth. So on the seventh day, it's important to understand seven. It is. And where we're at, where we're at even now. Because you hear many people talk about judgment, and people talking about so many things today. Talking about so many things. You hear the voice of prophets and apostles and pastors and teachers and evangelists. They're talking about the things that's going on. But there is some prophets, and I'm going to call them the sons and daughters of thunder. Yes, the sons and daughters of thunder that's emerging, that's coming forth. But first of all, what I want to do is I want us to go to Revelation. I want you to go to Revelations quickly with me. Like I said, I don't plan to be that long. And of course, you can always go back on YouTube and watch it again. And also Facebook. And I want to appreciate you once again. Revelations chapter 1. Revelation chapter 1. And so let's really connect the dots so that we can be concrete clear and no longer abstract confused. Because the truth is connected to the spirit, and the spirit is connected to this truth. The truth is the mind. I've just read the mind of Yahweh. Read the mind of Yahweh that he had it written down. But let's connect the spirit to this. There's some things that we need to understand. There's things that we were taught that down through the years. There's things that have been said, things that have not been completely explained, because when you don't know, you're going to end up being abstract and give some philosophy or some type of wisdom that is not of Yahweh. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Very important. Very important. So when I say revelations, revelation is the spirit to the holy day in Genesis. Revelations. Yes, the whole Revelations, from one to the first chapter to the last. It deals with what? The holy day. Now, so when you get in Revelations, you see a bunch of sevens. So it's the spirit of the truth. It's the spirit of the truth. So we got to connect the dots so that you can see very concrete of what Yahweh is doing, what's being said. Okay? Because I'm going to talk about some things just briefly, that we were told and this and that and the other. So I'm not afraid. I promise you I'm not. I want to provoke your thoughts. I want to provoke your thoughts when you secretly, some people will secretly go and try to find if it's true or not. That's how serious I am. So Revelations, the last letter, the last book, the last letter, Revelations. And chapter 1. And I want to read verse 10. Okay? I want to read verse 10. Revelation chapter 1, verse 10. And here Yachanan, having his vision, open eye vision, and what's going on. So, verse 10, he said, I was in the spirit on the day of Yahweh, on the day of Yahweh, that great day, a Sabbath. And I heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, as of a trumpet. Okay? So I want you to understand that. I'm going to read this again. Revelations chapter 1, verse 10. And it says, and here's Yachanan saying, I was in the spirit on the day of Yahweh, that great day. A Sabbath, a great day. Every 7 day, every weekly Sabbath is the day of Yahweh. It's great. Every feast day is a great Sabbath, the day of Yahweh. And so we're talking about now we're coming into the seventh moon, the first day. We're coming into that first day, and so now it's the seventh moon of Yahweh. Holy a holy convocation and a new moon, all at the same time. So he said, I was in the spirit on the great day of Yahweh, that great day, and I heard behind me a great voice as a trumpet, as a trumpet. I want you to keep that in mind. You heard a voice as a trumpet. There was a silver trumpet, and the shofar represents a trumpet. And then they had the silver trumpet. Some may have gold. Yes, but the shofar, the voice as a trumpet. Okay? I want you to get that. I want you to understand that. Okay? Now, keep that in mind. Don't lose that thought. Okay? Don't lose that. Because let's go to Revelations chapter 5. Because even as when you go, if you go to chapter 5, before you go into chapter 5, in chapter 1, verse 20. Verse 20. Chapter 1, verse 20. The secret of the 7 stars which you saw in my right hand. and the golden seven lampstands. The seven stars are the Malikams of the seven congregations of the house of Yahweh. And the seven lampstands which you saw are the seven congregations of the house of Yahweh. Seven. Did you hear that? Seven. And so when you get into chapter 2, chapter 3, and what have you, you hear about these seven churches, these eras of these churches. Many people preach about them, and all like this, and they take a church and they preach about it and what have you. So, but I want to, let's go to chapter 5. But here's chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 1. Check this out. Chapter 4, verse 1. After this, I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me. Trumpet, talking as a trumpet talking with me, which said, come up here, and I will show you things which must be after this. Okay? Now let's go to chapter 5. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Revelation chapter 5. Are you following me? All right. Feel free to talk back to me in the chat room. Chapter 5, verse 1. Revelation chapter 5, verse 1. And I saw in the right hand of him who sit on the throne a scroll written inside and on the back sealed with 7 seals. 7 seals. I want you to get that. 7 seals. Verse 2. And I saw a mighty mouth proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the scroll and to release its seal. You got to understand what a seal is. Something is sealed. It's covered. It's not open. But he said, who is worthy to open it? There has to be somebody worthy to release its seals. Verse 3. And no one in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, or was able to open the seals, neither to look at it. Verse 4. And I weep bitterly, because no one was found worthy to open and read the scroll. Are you hearing this? No one was found worthy to open, to receive, to read it. Oh my, oh my. 7 seals. 7 seals. Okay, let's. I want to put a pin right there. Let's go to Daniel. Okay, let's go to Daniel chapter 12. Let's look at Daniel chapter 12. Okay, Daniel chapter 12. My. Daniel chapter 12. Let's connect these dots. Daniel chapter 12. Let's see what it says here. Daniel chapter 12 and verse Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. And this is what it says. But you, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book to the time of the end. Many will run to and fro and knowledge will increase. He said, seal. So Yahweh was giving him. So he said, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. So he said, seal the book until the time comes for it to be open, to be read. What's there? What's there? Okay? What's there? So let's go, because you got to remember this. You got to remember the apostles. They did not have a New Testament. They had the law and the prophet. And the prophets did not have a New Testament. They had the law. So we understand now. To understand this, the revelation is the spirit to what? Genesis chapter 1, chapter 2. 6 days, and the seventh day is holy. There, he said, now there was no one found worthy to open up the seal. Let's go to Second Thessalonians. Okay? Let's go to Second Thessalonians. What is Paul is saying to the Thessalonians? Second Thessalonians, what? Chapter 2. Second Thessalonians chapter 2. And let's look at what verse here? Let's look at verse 6. Thessalonians, Second Thessalonians, second chapter, verse 6. Okay? And I might read on just a little bit more after verse 6. And let's start at verse 5. Verse 5. Do you not remember that when I was still with you, I told you these things? This is Paul talking to them. There's things I thought they told you. Verse 6. And now you know what is restraining him now, so that he may reveal in his time. Reveal what? Things have to be revealed. People say, God, Yahweh, you folks want to rapture up. People want to rapture up. But listen to this. So Paul said, remember, and now you know what is restraining him now. Who? Yeshua. So that he may be revealed in his time. So understand this. Reveal. What's going to be revealed in his time? Verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity is already working, but the one restraining him will continue to restrain him until he makes to appear in the midst. Until he is made to appear in the midst. Verse 8. And then that lawless one will be revealed, whom Yeshua will remove with the breath of his mouth and make powerless with the appearance of his coming. Oh, I love this. Verse 9, whose coming is according to the energy of Satan, who works with all power, signs, and lying wonders. So I want y'all to know that people talk about Satan don't have no power, Lucifer don't have no power. With all powers and signs and lying wonders. That is, Lucifer have authority in the paranormal realm with all power in darkness, with all signs and wonders and lying wonders in darkness. Y'all got to know this. Verse 10, with all deceivableness of sin in those who are perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Verse 11, and for this reason Yahweh will send them strong delusions, that they would believe the deception. Oh my. And verse 12, in order that all those may be judged as not having believed the truth, but having delight in sin. But their things are going to be revealed. So let's go back to Revelations chapter 5. So I'm going to read it, verse 4 again. Revelation chapter 5, verse 4. And I wept bitterly because no one was found worthy to open and read the scroll, neither to look upon it. Verse 5. But one of the elders said to me, one of the elders of the 24 elders, he said, do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome to open the seal and to release the 7 seals. Oh my, oh my. To open the 7 seals and to release. So, verse 6, and I looked and behold, in the midst of the throne and the 4 living creatures, in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as though it has been slain, having complete power, complete knowledge, and understanding, which signifies the represent and the complete plan of Yahweh sent forth into the earth. So we see that there's something that's going to take place. And so we got, what does 7 mean? 7 means completion. So it's talking about the I means complete knowledge and understanding. So there were 7 what? Spirits means completion, a plan. The spirit to the truth. Completion. So there are 7 seals. We know that because in chapter 6, it gives us going the first seal, the second seal, third, these seals, the seals, to be opened, to be read. The complete plan of Yahweh. So understand this. We're talking about the complete plan. We're talking about the 7 seals. Where are we in this? Where are we now? See, everybody's talking about what's going on, but we need to know where you're at. Are we in the 7th seal? Oh, that's another question, a thought. I want to let you know we are in the 7th seal. And it's started to be read because each seal has to be revealed. What's there in the seal? What's being opened? Who is worthy? So Yeshua, okay, let's go back to verse 5 of chapter 5. What does it say? But one of the elders said to me, do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome to open the scroll and to release its 7 seals. Is Yeshua going to release it himself? Because Yeshua, where on the right hand of the Father, the right hand of authority, said to be released and to release its 7 seals. So they got to be released of the 7 seals. So 7 seals. So are we in the 7th seal? Because there's 6. There's six. Because understand this one thing. From the first one to the sixth seal, a lot of people didn't pay attention until we start getting to the sixth seal. Some things are being revealed. Some people ain't pay too much of attention. Some people didn't pay too much of attention. So we talk about seven seals, okay? Now, when we even go to chapter 8, okay? So we got to understand that there's certain things that has to take place. Even when the last seal, the sixth seal, and then chapter 7, it begins to give us understanding of who of certain groups or the 12 tribes, the 144,000. Then there's a multitude that cannot be numbered. Okay? Now understand this. Chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things I saw four Malachim standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, so that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor on any tree. Verse 2, and I saw another Malach ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Father. And he cried with a loud voice to the four Malachims, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. Verse 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, until we sealed the servants of our fathers in their forehead. So there's a remnant that Yahweh deals with of sealing the forehead and the hand. Just like we talk about the mark of the beast, don't take the mark of the beast in the forehead and then in your hand. There's a seal that Yahweh is sealing. But then in verse 9, it goes through the 12 chapter of 12 tribes. And then verse 9, after this I looked and behold a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, tribes, and people, tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with a white robe and with palm branches, taught to keep Yahweh's feast in their hand. So we're talking about the number that no man can number. Who are those? Who are those? We're talking about the seed of Abraham. That they will come, but there are those who have to be sealed first, be in place to receive the number that he saw that no man could number from all over. So we got to understand. So now we know that there's seven seals. So we know there's seven seals, six seals. Now we are in the seventh seal. So we begin to kind of notice some things in the sixth seal. Some things begin to be revealed, but not taken wholeheartedly, because people been distracted. People have been distracted. How they've been distracted? They've been thrown off to look someplace else other than the truth. Because we were told that the truth, you don't have to pay attention to it. Oh, the law, the commandment, that's what we were told. That you don't have to do this because they couldn't obey the truth. So the law, the commandments, you don't have to do it. That's a lie. That's a lie. There's nowhere in the Bible, first, from Genesis to Deuteronomy does not say that. Then thereafter does not say that. All the way to Revelations. does not say don't obey. Everything is about obey my law, my commandments. Everything. From Genesis all the way to Revelation. But someone in ancient times distracted and said, don't do this. Don't do the Sabbath. Don't do, it's not important for you. It's only important for certain people. What? So people believe that all 12 tribes that came out of Egypt were Jews. No, there wasn't. Read the book. Read the book. We're not talking about the Jewish community. Read the book. It's for everybody. And so you hear the discussion of the God of the Jews. You hear the Christians, their God versus the God of the Jews. And so now everybody want to kind of line themselves up with the Jewish community, but not with Yahweh's calendar. I know what I'm saying. So it's important for us to understand something. So when we're talking about here in the seventh seal, there are things that have already been revealed, but people have been distracted with other things. So we are in the seventh seal. There's many things that has taken place in the seventh seal. So now, even in chapter 8, in the seventh seal, talk about the seven trumpets. There's seven trumpets. Seven trumpets. And many times we folks are hearing, okay, we want to hear the trumpet sound. So we want to hear this trumpet. We want to hear this trumpet. We want to hear like the sound of a shofar. Oh, it's going to be miraculous. We're going to hear the last trump sound. And that's going to be the first resurrection. We're going to hear it. And we're going to be caught up. And you attach all kind of stuff to it. It scares some people, makes some people, ooh, I'm ready to be raptured up. I'm ready to hear sound. But many people have rejected the sound of the trumpet. The first trumpet. Not very much. Because you can read chapter 8. And so there's a preparation that we've gone into the seventh seal to prepare for the last trumpet. So we're talking about the last trumpet. What about the first six? Did anybody hear the first six trumpets? Did anybody hear the first six trumpets? This is so important. So important. Did anybody hear the first six? Because everybody is waiting. It's waiting for what? The last trumpet. Because they're waiting for a certain sound to take place. Because remember, we are the spirit to this truth. We are in the seventh seal. And understand, in the seventh seal, the seventh trumpet, is it blowing now? Oh my. Because people have been distracted. People are distracted to believe that they're going to hear a sound like a trumpet. They're going to hear something in the air. Ooh, like we blow the shofar. No, that's the physical shofar, the physical trumpet. It is a sim to prepare us for we to be in practice to be able to hear the sound. very important for us to understand this. What are we going to hear? What are we going to hear? Huh? People that so we got to understand. We understand seven. We read it. The seven, the completion, the complete plan of Yahweh. Seven is the number of completion. The first seal would give plan to Yahweh. Not complete. The second seal, open. Not complete. We begin to hear. Are we hearing? Did you hear the first six? Did you get the first six seals? Are they open? Did you hear the first six trumpets? Did we hear this? Or were we expecting something totally different than what the word is actually saying? See, we got to understand that we are in this seventh seal, so we got to have a spirit to the truth. You got to have this truth. You got to know the mind of Yahweh. You got to know the thoughts of Yahweh. He wants to reveal his complete plan. But the problem is, are we hearing the trumpet? So we are in this seventh seal with the trumpet. The seventh trumpet is blowing. Oh, I know that might mess some people up. That might mess some people up. The seventh trumpet is blowing now. I'll say it again. A threefold cord that cannot be broken, because I want to plant that seed. The seventh trumpet is blowing now. So the question is, no, it's not blowing. Did you hear the first six? Did you hear a certain thing? Was the six seals revealed? They were revealed, but did you pay attention that what was revealed? The third seal, was it complete? No. The seventh seal coming to complete the completion of Yahweh's plan to be revealed. Open the seal. Yeshua was the one that he overcome that to release the opening of the seal to be revealed. Yes, Yeshua. He had to overcome. But there's no one that was worthy but Yeshua, the Messiah. So now, the seventh seal is here. And the trumpet, the seventh trumpet, the last trumpet is blowing. Okay, so let's go with me. I think here. Wait for it. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And verse 51. Verse 51. And it says, behold, I show you a secret truth. This is what Paul is saying. I show you a secret truth. All will not, and we will not all sleep, but we will all be changed. Verse, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the what? Last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will rise incorruptible, and we will be changed. Do we really know what that means? Because if we're in the seventh seal and the seventh trumpet, you got to understand what has taken place in the seventh seal, and the trumpet is sounding now. Because we got to understand it's this complete plan of Yahweh being revealed. We're talking about tribulation, all these things, judgment that's taking place in the earth, that around the globe of the world, people have come alive. Why? Because there was things that have been released through judgment in the earth. And people, so now all of us ain't asleep, but we've been woke up. We have waken up in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. I promise you, many people now are waking up. They're conscious because people have been asleep. They've been asleep and nullified because we've been missing the first six seals and the six trumpets at the time. So in the seventh, the last, he said this was going to take place. The seventh seal is going to be revealed. The seventh seal is trumpet. So you got to understand much is going to happen, be revealed in completing Yahweh's plan. So many people are distracted about everything else. They're looking at the world system. They're looking at the world governments. They're looking at this and they're looking at that. They've been distracted. How are we going to build the kingdom of Yahweh? Is it people trying to build the kingdom of Yahweh with the beastly system in it? It ain't going to happen. The marketplace. Yahweh's economy is totally different from the economy of the world. I heard one of the apostles teach today. Yes, out of South Bend, Indiana. The economy of Yahweh is totally different from the economy of the world. The marketplace is totally different than the marketplace of the world. The trading is totally different. You cannot mix the two together. You cannot say this is the kingdom of Yahweh and you got the beastly system all in it. It won't, Yahweh, I'm getting rid of the mixture. That's been the problem. That's been the problem. Are people waking up? Yes, they are. People are waking up. Even right now, people are waking up, even as I teach this, even as you listen. And when you teach and when you preach, people are waking up because we are in the seventh seal. The seventh seal is open and being revealed, and greater things is getting ready to come out because the trumpet is blowing. And what was not heard before Yahweh will use in the seventh seal greatly to be heard. So now let's go back to Revelations. So we're talking about the trumpet, the last trumpet. Because remember when I read Revelations chapter 1, verse 10, and I was in the spirit on the day of Yahweh, that great day, and I heard behind me a great voice like of a trumpet. And so we read Revelations chapter 5, chapter 5, chapter 5, and talked about the seventh, the seventh seal, the scrolls, and whatever, and who was worthy to open it. Because understand this, verse 6, and I'm going to read verse 6 and 5 again. I'm coming to a close. I want you to catch it. Verse 6, and I looked, and behold, in the midst of the throne and the four living creatures, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as though it had been slain, having complete power and complete knowledge and understanding, which signifies and represents the complete plan Yahweh sent into all the earth. There's a complete plan that has to be sent into the earth. It has to go into the earth. And so Yahweh said, I'm going to reveal it, the earth. That it got to be, my complete plan has to be revealed. So we talk about the seventh day, the seventh moon coming into the fall feast. So we got to understand where we're at in this time cycle that we're in. We are in the seventh seal, the seventh, the spirit of the seventh. So you got 777, the mark of Yahweh that's on us. Who? The ones that worship him in spirit and in truth. There will be others that will come, but those have to be sealed. So Yahweh knows those who are his. If you got 666 on you, do Yahweh know who you are? Ooh. Did you take the mark of the beast? Is your mind orientated to the beastly system? Or is it a mixture? Because you know in Revelation, it talks about one of the churches that he's going to get rid of the lukewarm, and it's going to be either hot or cold. All that's going to, the lukewarm, the mixture, all that's going to be gone. That's been wiped out now. Because people got to make a decision. Either they're going to be hot or cold, black or white. It's just that simple, concrete. It's not a difficult thing. And you got to make a choice now. You're going to come to make a choice. Either you're going to be righteous or unrighteous. Either you're going to be saved or unsaved. Either you're going to be holy or unholy. No, I'm holy, but I don't want to be too heavenly minded. I'm no earthly good. The devil is a lie. Be holy, for I am holy. Be perfect. Now, coming to a close. Revelation chapter 10. Revelation chapter 10. And the heading of it says, when the seventh trumpet sounds. When it sounds. When the trumpet sounds. How are we going to listen to this? Verse 1. I saw another mighty Malik come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud and a rainbow upon its head. I'm not talking about the rainbow that Yahweh talks about with Noah, that he will never flood the earth again. I'm not talking about that rainbow. I'm talking about the rainbow that it's a Malik. People are seeing double rainbows. It don't have to be rain. A day that after the rain, we're going to see that. But there's days that you'll see, look in the sky, there's a double rainbow, and the sun is shining too. You got to understand what that is, what that means. It's a sign in the air, in the atmosphere. What? Verse 1 again, and I saw another mighty Malak come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud and a rainbow upon his head, and his face was as the sun, and the feet a pillar of fire. We see this. Verse 2, and he had a little book open in his hand. And he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot upon the earth. And verse 3, he cried with a loud voice, and when a lion's roar, and when he cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. 7 thunders uttered their voices. Here we go with that. 7 thunders uttered their voices. Verse 4. And when the 7 thunders uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven said to me, seal up. Here we go. Seal, like he told Daniel, seal it up. Seal up those things which the seven thunders uttered, and do not write them. It's not for you to write. It's not for you to write. He just seal them up because they got to be revealed. Don't you write them. But this is what, okay, let's read. Verse 5. Then Amalek, which I saw standing upon the sea and upon the earth, lifted up his hand to heaven. Verse 6. And vowed by him who lives forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that are in it, and the earth and the things which are in it, and the sea and the things which are in it, that there shall be a time no longer. Verse 7. Listen to this. But in the day, the voice of the seventh Malach, in the days of the voice of the seventh Malach, when he began to sound, the great secrets of Yahweh will be finished, complete, as he declared it to who? The servants, his servants, the prophets. That's why I said Yahweh now is raising up the sons and daughters of thunder. I say it again. These prophets, Yahweh is raising up the sons and daughters of thunder. You hear that? That's going, the great secret of Yahweh will be finished as he declared to his servants, the prophets. We're not talking about all prophets. I'm not talking about the prophets of Baal. I'm not talking about Christian religious prophets. Oh, I'm talking about Yahweh's prophets that could call fire to come. I'm not talking about prophets that's doing guesswork and that got a mixture. I'm not talking about those kind of prophets. I'm talking about the prophets that have a pure heart to serve in spirit and truth, that's going to hear, because they are the voice, they're the trumpet that we begin to reveal that was sealed to the complete plan of Yahweh. See, you got to understand, people are not listening to the complete plan of Yahweh because they've been distracted. They've been distracted by so much. People have been distracted by COVID-19, by the government, how divided it is around the world, being distracted. But who is listening? Who is hearing the plan of Yahweh? And I've declared to people that I know, that I teach, I'm not concerned about that no more. My concern is the complete plan of Yahweh being revealed, to know what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to move, where we come on now. The complete plan. See, that's what the seventh seal, the seventh trumpet, is the voice of the prophet, the sons and daughters of thunder. Like Yahweh spoke to Moshe. He said, thunder, the voice in the thunder. There will be people that will hear thunder, but there will be others who will hear the voice of Yah. Oh my. And there are those starting now. And say it's not a religious thing. It's not a religious thing. It's not a Christianity thing. But he will begin to transfer and shift those who are who's religious, and their heart has been right, who's been in Christianity, their heart's been right, and he's beginning to do some things for some people that are in those areas, and it's going to shift them out. Because now some people, I know because I've talked to many people, let them know that they said, ooh, I hear thunder, but I hear there's thunder. Know that there's thunder, but I hear the voice in the thunder. And Yahweh is going to continue to give and reveal his complete plan. But Yahweh, the seventh seal is so broad, dealing with tribulation and persecution and judgment. People are waking up. So now you make a choice. Yahweh is revealing his complete plan to be sent into the world. Oh my, oh my, oh my, my. Hallelujah. Oh my. Woo-wee. My goodness. And I'm gonna read this last scripture. So it's about so now we're coming in the seventh moon. The seventh seal. We obey that. We do that. But you got to understand overall where we at. Where we at. So anytime we go into the seventh moon and the obedience of it, coming into the feast of trumpets and the Day of Atonement, what have you, we've missed in time past. We've missed the voice of the trumpets, the seal. Why? To be revealed by his prophets. Yahweh did it by, he gave us the commandments. Now the spirit of it is being revealed. So where are we at today? Right now, that the prophets, Yahweh's prophets, the criteria of Yahweh's prophets, oh my, do you know that they will teach and preach the difference between clean and unclean, holy and unholy? They will teach the difference and know and give you and show you how. There are prophets that are not doing that. There are prophets in the land that's not doing that. That give you what's clean and unclean, profane and unholy. The state of the church, of the body now, who can tell the difference? Who can tell the difference now? But the ones that he's raising up, that keeps his Sabbath and the feast, because that mark is on us. And he reveals. He's raising up. Oh my. Because the heart has to be right. And I'm going to read this in John chapter 12. Chapter 12. Because remember, Yeshua called John and his brother the sons of thunder. When we read in Revelation, John, the sons of thunder. He heard a voice as a trumpet. You can read this in Exodus, talking about when they was at Mount Sinai and coming in, and getting the commandments and hearing this conversation between Yahweh and Moshe. They heard the shofar. The shofar was born. There was thunder, but Yahweh's voice. They began to hear Yahweh's voice turn from thunder in the shofar to a voice. That's what they heard. Oh my. John chapter 12. Verse 26. This is what it says. If any man serve me, let him follow me. Then where I am, there my servant will also be. If any man serve me, my Father will honor him. Verse 27. Now I am distressed. But what should I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, for this purpose I came to this hour, to be crucified. Verse 28. Father, glorify your name. Then a voice came from heaven, saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. verse 29. Listen to this. But the people that were standing by and heard it, saying that it had thundered. Others said, a Malik has spoken to him. Do you hear that? Others said, a Malik has spoken to him. They heard the voice of Yahweh. Others heard what? Thunder. Yeshua answered said, this voice did not come because of me, but for your sake. You got to understand. There are those who's going to hear thunder, but those others going to hear the Malik, that reference to even what? In Revelation. So, now that we're coming into, we know that we are in the seventh seal, the seventh trumpet. So the voice, listen to the prophets for the complete plan that Yahweh is revealing for the earth. Oh my, the last trumpet being sounded. It is not a horn. It is the voice of the prophets, Yahweh's prophets. You gotta understand this. Many prophets are out there, but they're not teaching. They understand. It's a mixture. Some want to teach the truth, but don't obey the truth. Some want to do it, but don't teach it. You got to teach and do. Oh my. Oh my. So, with that being said, and those others who are getting prepared and what have you, I will, Tuesday, I will be coming on the first day of the seventh moon. And I definitely, let's hear from the prophets. That's what is being revealed. What is Yahweh in the seal? What is he revealing? We talk about his plan, the complete plan. Anytime you hear the plans of things that is a mixture, it's not the complete plan of Yahweh. Yahweh is going to reveal. He's going to reveal his plan like he's revealing everything else. Judgment. The glory of Yahweh is revealing. What's in dark is coming out to the light. What's been sealed is been opened. With that said, I want to thank each and every one of you that commented in the chat room and on my phone text. People texting me on my phone and saying things. Yeah, hallelujah, the complete plan. Absolutely. And different ones. I want to thank you, Apostle Evelyn Giles and others who give their names, YouTube name, which I don't know personally, and others. I want to thank you for coming in, and so let's get ready. Let's continue to connect the dots. We got to be in that certain place. Yahweh is separating the wheat and the tare. Yahweh is separating. I was talking with one of Yahweh's finest teachers. Lady Storm, and what's going on today? Absolutely, the separation of wheat and the tare. Absolutely, separating, and it's Yahweh doing the separating. We don't have no control over it, none. It's all about the great I am, the Most High. Yes, absolutely. No more together, no more mixing, separating the two, no more corruption, no more no contamination, and all the wheat together, and then all the tare together, separate. This is what's happening now. Mindset. Mindset. So he's getting rid of the mixture. He's separating. He's separating. No more mixture, no more wheat and tare. He's separating now. And so now we see for what it is. We see the wheat for what it is, and we see the tare for what it is. The great revealed. Bless you in Yahweh's name, and I will hope to see you on Tuesday. I'll let you know the date, the time that is. I don't have my chauffeur, but there are others who have their chauffeur. I want you to blow as it has been commanded. But then the prophets, the prophets, the sons and daughters of thunder. Don't be afraid to begin to reveal Yahweh's plan. You're blessed as you do that. Hallelujah. Yahweh bless you and your family and keep you and your family. That's just added family. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and your family and be merciful to you and your family. Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and your family and give you and your family peace. So they will put my name, Yah, on the children of Israel, and I will bless them. I want to say to each and every one of you that this day, evening, enjoy you and your family. Shalom. Shalom.